Well, we take a very holistic approach. We're running a lot of juvenile programs. We sponsor Character Links in the public school, which talks about all of the positive character traits that you want to have in your life: truth, responsibility, compassion. The list goes on and on. And they have exercises set up for the kids to talk about those in real life situations and circumstances, work to bring home to share with their parents and to report back to the school. We also have our Young Marine program where we've graduated 1,799 graduates out of our Young Marine program, the largest program in the country. We've had 2 kids that have received appointments one to the U.S. Naval Academy and one to the U.S. Military Academy. Very proud of that. Once a Marine, always a Marine. We talk about the traits and the characteristics of a Marine, and we deal with those kids accordingly. I've heard stories from the parents of moving from F and D students to A and B students and doing the right thing. We have always had a very proactive junior deputy program. We are now just started our Band of Excellence, which will be ultimately 300 kids competing to be in a 160-member marching band. We've just started this to bring music into it and be advocates for these kids to get collegiate scholarships. We got a plethora of talent out there.
Yes.
But what we don't have are advocates for the kids.
So
many of the kids come from very unprivileged circumstances, and they don't have advocates. So we are exposing the kids to collegiate programs and exposing the kids to recruiters of colleges, and that's what our goal is, and hopefully we'll be very successful. And finally, we've created a collaborative relationship with the clergy. I really believe that the clergy stepping out from behind the pulpit and becoming a more community activist and utilizing the credibility of the clergy to make a difference out on the street is going to be huge. We have been encouraging the churches to set up aftercare programs for the young kids, so that when mom or dad or both are working and they don't get off till 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, that the kids have done their homework in these aftercare programs. They've had good mentoring and tutoring that have gone on. And in many cases, the churches are feeding the kids, and they get to spend quality time there, and they know they are in a safe and secure environment, and they're not home with the 14-year-old who sometimes is going to periodically make bad decisions. They have really stepped up collectively and have done a lot of good things. And then finally, we've kind of looked at, there's 70 to 80 DOC inmates that roll out of the prison system at the state that come back to Jefferson Parish to live. And we've begun to try and reunite their family with them about 6 months to a year before they roll out. I actually have buses that take the family members of those that are incarcerated, their kids, to reconnect, so that hopefully when they assimilate back into the community, they experience some successes. Because the one thing that I know that will not deny them, and that is the high of the cocaine, the high of the meth, the high of the heroin, that will not deny them. That I know for sure. So if we can put them in the best position to reunite them with their church, reunite them with their family, hopefully with the help of the clergy, get them a job so that they can have some early successes, so that they can be a productive citizen. Because the recidivism rate, the reoffend rate, is 70%. So that means of every 10 that come back, 7 are going to reoffend. If I can begin to turn that tide and begin to influence that number in a significant way, we'll be a much better place for it. I set the threshold relatively low. If we turn one guy around, we've had a successful year.
Yes, definitely. A lot of residents of Jefferson Parish does not have faith in the police department. What will you do to bring the faith back to the community?
Well, I don't know what you mean by a lot. I think there are a lot of sectors of the community that have a level of distrust in government, and in particular a level of distrust in law enforcement. A lot of times that's based on a prior circumstance or happening, and of those, a lot of times it's a misunderstanding of what our obligation is under the law about what it is that we're supposed to do and not do. We are not tolerant of criminal behavior, but we will always be receptive and open to criticism. And as long as we can continue to have an open line of communication in a very mature fashion, I'll talk to anybody. And if there's something that someone believes that they were mistreated, we'll look at it. I am a firm believer that I hold the public's trust in the palm of my hand. It is incumbent upon me to manage it and massage it carefully. Because you heard me early on say, I can't succeed in a vacuum without the public's confidence. So we continue to do that. Does that mean we do not make mistakes? Absolutely not. We do make mistakes. We're human. But as the leader, I'm called upon to remediate those errors as quickly as possible. Not make excuses for them, but remediate them. Admit when we're wrong. Admit when we're wrong.
So is it zero tolerance within the department as well as within the community?
Well, for a long time, if there is behavior by one of my deputies, the policy here has been we proceed criminally first, like everybody else. Administratively second. And what's important about that is that if I get information or evidence administratively, many times I cannot use that criminally because I've violated the employee's constitutional rights in order to gather that information. So out of an abundance of caution, we treat our own like we treat the citizens at large. We proceed criminally first. A lot of people don't realize that, and they don't understand the fine distinction between the two and the importance in holding our own accountable. And it goes back to what I said before. We're not perfect. We will make mistakes. Tomorrow's a new day. There will be a mistake made.
Do you feel we need more foot patrol, or do you feel that we need foot patrol in high crime areas than car patrol to increase police presence?
In many instances, it would be a luxury that I'd like to have. I don't think it's appropriate in every setting, but there are some settings depending on how the community's built, the density and other things of that nature, that foot patrols would be of benefit, or on some other vehicle or mode of transportation other than an automobile. But in many cases that it's a luxury that we do not have because that officer can only cover such a small geographic area. With that, the cost of delivering that type of service is very cost prohibitive. But there are opportunities that present themselves for that.